Okay, so I'm working on the throttle. A lot of you guys in comments said we need to put a D-throttle on the tractor, and I think you are right about that. So I'm modifying what I have here, and this is what I come up with. You remember this thing that I made, okay? So I put 2 dowel pins in it, I cut it down, I put this little cool little ring with this stuff on it to put it on here, and then I got this little thingy with the ring and cut down to stick on it, and here, let me assemble it and I'll show you. I basically took what Big Bud had in the other tractor and copied it. But I had to change it up a lot because this isn't quite the same setup to fit in this tractor. So yeah, I had to do quite a bit of mods to make it work. There we go. So this mechanism, let me pull this back a little bit like that. All right, it's really complex how they got this going on. So this is what they did. You got your throttle coming out of the dash. Here's your throttle. This ring here goes to your throttle cable. So this connects to your injection pump. So the cable goes from here all the way down into the engine. Comes back up to here. Your D-throttle pedal actually connects to here as well. Goes down your foot pedal. Okay? So when I throttle this up, it will push this whole mechanism down. This stays in one spot. When I push the D-throttle in, it'll rotate this up without moving the handle. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it works. It's worked in the other tractor. So I copied it, modified it, and here we go. Put a little grease in it, paint it, bolt it up in the dash, and then I got to cut a hole for the throttle cable to go underneath. And then this is what I came up with over here on the side of the engine. We didn't have a bracket for the throttle cable, and obviously this throttle cable is a little different design than what the other ones are, so I had to modify it. But the other thing I found out too is this transmission requires a throttle positioning sensor, which is this right here. The throttle positioning sensor now goes through a cable, goes over to this mechanism, and I really don't know how you adjust it to get it to the right position. So we might have to play with it. So what I ended up doing is making a slot on the bracket here so I can adjust the cable and then find that sweet spot, because that throttle positioning sensor tells the transmission if it's at full throttle, half throttle, low RPM, and then when you try to shift it into a gear, it knows when to shift it or how to shift it. If either a soft shift, a hard shift, or delayed shift, or whatever that kind of stuff, it has to tell it. Here's the throttle, and this is the throttle positioning sensor. So throttle down here, that's this cable right here, and then throttle positioning sensor, and then these 2 bolts with a slot can move that bracket back and forth, which changes that throttle positioning sensor up there, right there. I don't know, that's not where it's supposed to be probably, but that's where I ended up putting it. Oh yeah, it's coming together. Slowly, but it's coming together. Yeah, lots of stuff. But I'm pretty happy how this turned out. Like I said, put a little grease in it, paint it, call it good, bolt it up on the dash. There has been a tremendous amount of wiring going on in this tractor, like so much. It's ridiculous. I still have tons of it to tidy up and zip tie everything, and there's still some wires that I got to go inside the cab, obviously, as you can tell. These here are actually from my engine components, but these are 12-volt batteries. That starter is a 24-volt battery, or starter on it. So to start the tractor, I need to have 2 of these batteries in series. So basically you take a power from there to a ground here, then from this terminal going to the starter is 24 volt. So it's 12 volt, 12 volt, 24, okay? But I also have to have 12 volt to the cab. This master kill switch will be going right alongside the radiator, right there. And that'll kill the tractor so that no electronics can be used and drain the batteries. At least that'll help prevent it. I'm gonna have a power going from this battery, which this will be my designated 20 or 12 volt. This would be my 24 volt, okay? So the positive will go to the kill switch. Then from the other side of the kill switch, we'll split off to two different directions. One's going to go up towards the cab. The other one's going to come over here to the negative terminal that feeds 12 volt to this negative terminal. Then from this positive terminal on the 24 volt battery, we'll go up to the top of the starter, which activates the starter on, well, actually allows the starter to draw 24 volts to start it up. Then on the ground side of the starter, which they have a big stub on it, that will come back and go right here to the negative on this battery. So basically what I'm doing is I'm making a big loop. This terminal that'll split off, one that's going to go to the battery, that goes to 24 volt, and the other one that's going to go up to the cab. I will go up to a terminal like this, pretty much a bank, as you can tell, and this will split off into a couple different directions. It'll go from your cutoff switch to here, then it's going to go from here to a start solenoid, which will be this right here. So when you turn your key, this activates the main starter. And then I'll have the GPS system, which will be also tied onto this bank here, and also the front lights. So instead of running a big power cable all the way from the lights up into the cab, what I decided to do is put the relay for the lights in the front right down here. So the lights will literally come from there down to that relay. Then from that relay, we'll go to that power bank that I'm going to put on. And then from the cab, I have a switch wire going straight down, which is actually this little red wire right here. That will activate that relay, which then tells the lights to kick on. And if you guys haven't noticed, look at those fancy things right here. Yeah, it's going to have flashers and turning signals. I know, isn't that crazy? I got to make it cool somehow. And I think this is about the best way we can make it cool. And then we also have some lights in the back of the cab. That'll be some flashers and so forth. These other buds have the same thing. Although, I did not wire these buds up for flashers. Well, not flashers, but turn signals. This one I will. See? Those are cute. And then they got those up there. So, I'm going a little different style, but it's going to look good. Now, you guys are probably wondering how come the marker lights are on the front of that, and why didn't I put the marker lights on the front of this one like that one? Well, there's a reason for that. This is going to have big bud on the face, so we can't put them there. And so I decided, why not make some little dowel pins to space it out, put those on. They're already wired up, and I think it looks pretty good. All right, here's what I'm going to do on this. So I'm running 2-aught battery cable. So when you say 2-aught and 3-aught, that's the size of the cable. 2-aught is a little smaller than 3-aught. So I'm running 2-aught from here to the cutoff switch, then over to this battery. Then from this battery, I'm running 3-aught all the way up to starter. And then from the starter, 3-aught back to the 12 volt. Because I figured in my mindset, I don't know if this is about right, if you guys will disagree or agree with me, but I think it makes sense to me, is you're going to have draw off the 24 volt, or 12 volt, but you're also going to increase the power going off the 24 volt, so why not increase the battery cable going to the starter to make sure that that starter has every ounce of energy it can get to get that thing to start, and then on the way back, it's got a really good ground coming back. So, was that smart? I don't know, maybe I should have went with 3-aught all the way, but saving a few dollars going 2-aught and then going 3-aught. Makes sense? So this one, I need to crimp and heat shrink these on, and that is going to go on one end. And that'll go to my kill switch right here. Yeah. All right, let's figure out how to crimp this thing. Oh, and the parts store in town were very generous. They lended me their crimper, so I can crimp it. A little bit. Oh yeah, that's a much better crimp. Oh, that's lovely. Look at that crimp. Ain't going nowhere. That's a nifty tool. All right, I need to go put this on. So I can crimp that on there, or clamp it on there, and then run it over, cut it, and crimp another end on, and keep working away. Yeah, should be working out pretty good.
All right, guys. Well, today might be a significant milestone in our tractor build. Leg arms is finishing up a little bit of the wiring.
And then we're selling it.
And then we're selling the tractor, so bids will start next week. But before that, I think we're gonna turn the key and try to start it. So, it's not done yet. We don't have drive shafts hooked up yet. There's still some things, but it's not gonna drive. But we might start the engine. And then we'll know if we got any oil leaks everywhere, if we got oil pressure, if the water temperature gauge is read correctly, if the transmission's building pressure, and the cooler isn't leaking, and the output shaft spins, we can shift gears. There's a lot of things that we needed to know so we don't have to do anything crazy in the future, like pull an engine out. So that's what we're gonna do today. We'll hopefully get to that point. So stay tuned. We might crank it.
Now, we could grind off a little bit of this.
All right, here we go. What's that? Okay, I think we're ready. We had some little issues with wiring. We addressed that. It's good now. But we do have the battery cable or battery box open just in case for some reason. I don't know if the starter keeps going or something. We got to pull cables off. Yeah, it's right there. The half inch is sitting over there on the battery. Okay. But we do have the battery disconnect right there, which is currently off. We put fuel in the fuel filters. We tried to prime the system. We weren't getting a lot of fuel to flow through, but it should, so we should be okay. But it might be a little bit cranking, so let's see what happens. Okay, go for it.
Master's on?
Yep. Ooh. Look at that big old fan spinning there. Hey, Dad. What's that?
I can still shut it off.
Good. Hey, Dad, up here, if you clamp on the step, there's an oil pressure gauge on the side of the engine there. Just curious what it says when it gets going here. Yeah, go ahead. 40 PSI, he said. Probably got that little bit of diesel through. I mean, I could try blowing on the
to the pumps. About 500 PSI.
Was it 500 pounds?
That's what I had.
So yeah, so now we should probably take a moment and look for anything running on the ground.
It was up to about 30, 35 pounds of oil pressure. That's pretty good for just cranking.
Yeah, it looks about the same as when I was under here earlier. There is oil to the main hydraulic pump, and steering pump, so they are being fed. So technically the oil system has hydraulic fluid going through it all. Well, I could put air back on the tank and pressurize the tank while you crank it. We see, the thing is, we didn't want to put a lot of diesel on this because we didn't know if for some reason we'd have to take the diesel out. So we only put that much. And to really help, it'd be nice if the diesel was here because that would basically be in line with the injection pump. I guess just keep cranking.
All right.
Somebody's cranky. I got it on the do both batteries. Let's put on the 50 amp.
Yep, go ahead.
Come on, girl. Oh, we're trying. Oh, that's clean. Is there any exhaust even coming out of that? Holy cow, I can't even tell it's running. Are you serious? fan looks good. Oh yeah. Woo! There we go. Now all the paint is burning off the turbos. That makes sense. It's gonna smell, but we got all the doors open, so we're good there. It's idling at about 70 PSI. Wow. Yeah, you're good, Dad. That was a slow idle. That fan is moving so much. Woo! I don't see any hydraulic oil leaking back here. The board bracket vibrates a little bit. Oh yeah, okay. I was just checking to see if there's air pressure coming from the air system, and there is. I haven't finished that yet, so it's good. Compressor's running. So we got air pressure, we got oil pressure. What's that? No steering? Well, the cylinder's probably full of air. It's probably gonna take a while. Do you want me to get the steering wheel?
No, that's fine. I mean, you'd think that I'd be able to turn. Oh, there we go.
Oh, we moved. Oh, look at that. Your output shaft with the transmission spinning. What gear are you in? Still spinning. Turning the steering. Let's check this other side, make sure it's good. So there's a lot of air still in these cylinders that's got to get purged out. Transmission. Oh, there we go. Now we're turning a little bit. The first time this tractor has turned under its own power in probably 30 years. I don't know, 25 years? Look at that. See how tight we can get here? Oh, we're tight. Just about hit the cooler, or the filter, but it didn't. We're turning. We got lots of room on that side too. Get closer. Oh, we got lots of room. Oh, that's beautiful. So I'm just kind of watching our clearances here to see. We got our cab jack, which jacks the cylinder, the cab up, and our two filters. How come he got to be the first guy to start it? Yeah. Not fair, Dad! Oh, I'll turn these down to...
You should get a look at this paint on the turbo.
Was the alternator hooked up at all?
It's not hooked up.
Okay, that's what I thought.
This paint is like...
Is it bubbling? Are we smoking? Well, whose idea was it to paint the turbos anyway?
Yeah, it was mine. So it was whining, okay. You know how I mentioned the hydraulics? You might hear this wah, wah inside the cab. Instantly, I was hearing that. I'm like, oh no.
We're gonna hear that all the time.
Now I'm gonna have to figure out a way to make a rubber joint and all that stuff. Well then, After we cycled all the oil, it doesn't do it. So I think it was just air in the system.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I didn't check our...
Okay.
Oh, there's pressure in the radiator. I can't see from here. Can you guys tell me how deep it is? Fluid level good? I don't know. We probably got to add a little bit. It was gonna... See, that's the thing that we want to do is purge some of that air out of the system. Purge some air out of the hydraulics, out of the coolant, out of the transmission. Now, transmission, the shifter must not be working right then.
It says do not shift.
Okay, because it just sits there and spins and it doesn't...
Yeah, well, it's just whatever is in there. But
Okay.
we have to add oil to it, but it's saying do not shift. But I
Well, okay, we have oil in it. We're
Have to add more oil.
probably going to add more oil to it. He filled it up to the full mark before we started. It's just so you're aware. Yeah, add oil.
Okay.
I'll put this one on a 20 amp timed. Oh, that's a good feeling. We ready to call it for the weekend?
I think so. I'm pretty tired.
It was a big push this week.
That was a big push.
Yeah, a lot of...
Master. Off.
Okay. Also, guys, I did drop the hydraulic oil out of this, like you mentioned, and put in 85 140 synthetic gear oil. So that makes sense. Thanks for letting me know on that. Totally spaced it. No circulating oil in that through the whole system. Means that, yeah, you probably better get some oil that will climb the gears to lube the top gears, because the hydraulic oil that was in there is probably not sufficient to do that. And then chain case full of oil with the chain in there, and we had a couple leaks in our seals. That has been taken care of. Good there too. Wow. Oh, good feeling. Okay. That was the goal. Get this thing started in June. And we barely did it.
What's going on with that right there?
I thought I felt, oh, look at that. Drop down, which means there was a bunch of hydraulic hoses that got filled.
Well, I
and
mean,
cylinders.
Those cylinders, you have to pump them in there.
Yeah, all that oil. So that's how much we dropped, basically this much oil to go through the whole system. But it's still at the bottom of the sight glass, so we'll add a little more. We'll get it right up to the top there. Call her good.
I just keep in the middle.
Or in the middle,
how it
if that's
goes.
what he wants. Gotta do what he wants always.
Do as I say.
Okay. All right. All right, that's it. Promise that's it.
Hang on a second. First of all, I do need to give a shout out to Titan Tires. Because of them, this thing looks sick. I need to give a shout out for Lone Clutch, because they're making a PTO happen.
And that's sick.
Clean Fix, yes, it's going to be sick. That's right, Nick. And then the Clean Fix fan, which is also very sick.
And it was moving so much air.
It was making my hat almost want to blow off.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It was actually taking, every time you revved it, the grill's kind of loose. It was pulling the grill tight.
Was it really?
And then it pull it tight. Yeah.
Okay, that was worth it.
Yeah, that was sick too.
And then the fourth one.
Are we allowed to say sick?
We still have, yeah, I think we can say sick, right?
Okay, that's cool. Yeah,
That's
that's
totally
hip. We can say hip, can't we?
Hemp?
Hip.
Hip?
Hip.
I think I said hemp.
No, hip.
Like, that's kind of weird. I don't know. No, hip, that's more like it.
Okay.
But the fourth guy, we'll get to that.
And thank goodness we're not sick.
I'll show you what I got going on here. What I'm doing is it's time to wake up this chunk of water. Anybody want to go swimming in that? That'll increase your immune system if you survive. Now this is just a normal occurrence, winterized, but then finally when it's time to wake the pool up, it's got a little residue, but it's all loose. And what I got here is I've got a pump pumping the water out of the pond. I don't think there's any fish in there. I will be if I don't walk correctly. Anyway, I've got a broom. I've got the power washer with water to it. And as it finally gets down where I can get into this first layer of the pool, then I'll take and wash the sides down and then take the broom and just kind of brush the bottom gently, because I don't want to rip the liner. That's one thing. Oh, wait a minute. You guys are so dark. Is it night? Oh, oh boy. Chalk that up for a few years on this body frame. Anyway, and so I want to get this all cleaned up because there's a good 10 kids, grandkids that are on the farm, and they love water. So I do this every every June, just wake the pond up. But it cleans up well. The winter, I put a top on it and I dump some chemicals in, but they don't last for the winter. But you got to keep water in these upright above ground pools, because if the wind comes up, it tears them apart. And it happened to me twice. One, it ruined the liner, but fortunately it didn't tear up the sides. And the last time here, it lifted that whole west side because the wind's strong. And I didn't know it that it had drained because the liner had ripped. And when I looked at it, yeah, I had a lot of work trying to restore, put that liner back in the groove and all that, blah, 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 blah. You don't need to go into it, do you, Bob? No. Anyway, here, Kobe. Kobe, you want to help? He could if he was a dogfish. There is some items. Whoa! No, I looked down there, it looked like a skeleton. Yeah, I wonder who that was. No, it can't be. Must be some debris. Hey, Kobe. Hey, Patch. Come here, Patch. Come here, Patch. How you doing? I don't allow them up here when we're in the pool. Of course, I have it gated so that the smaller grandkids can't come up in here. Oh, there's Nick's dog. I know one thing, I'm gonna probably have to shut the gates because, come here, come on. Here, let's come on. You wanna go out? You don't, but you did. I better shut it. Reason why is claws and these little thin plastic liners do not go together very well. All right, well, looks like I'll get some things around, but I've bored you enough. It's a poolable. I think it's poolable.